I am having my mind blown by Malachi right now. The entire book. It first came up again, because we always talk about Malachi 3, literally, in most videos, especially recently, because we've been proclaiming the name of Jehovah day in, day out, as we're supposed to, as prophecy says. So Malachi 3:16, that those that fear the Lord, they're going to think often upon the name of Jehovah. And John 17, Yeshua is going to manifest the name of Jehovah unto the true servants in the latter days. The Church of Philadelphia, don't deny his name, etc. So there was more scriptures about not denying his name, and even the churches and those who claim to believe or claim to even obey, because remember, there's always a rebuke to the left and the right. The right. So you've got like the left that says, there's a bit in Malachi 3 where it says, thus saith Jehovah, you have been stout against me in saying that the table of the Lord is contemptible. And they say, oh, wherein have we said this? And he says, I'm butchering this. It's very fresh. And he basically says, when you said that it's vain to serve Jehovah. So straight up before that, it even says that if I'm your father, where's my honor? The first commandment with promise is to honor your father and mother. That means to keep the 10 commandments as given in Deuteronomy 6. You okay, girl? And then it says, and if you're my servant, where's my fear? Or if I'm your master, where's my fear? There you go. The fear of Jehovah is that you serve him. That means keep and teach the Torah. Keep and teach the commandments, Torah movement. That's what I was going to say. So the commandments say, oh my goodness. Am I having a stroke right now? The Christians on the left say, it's vain to serve Jehovah. It's vain to keep the 10 commandments. What profit it that we keep the 10 commandments, that we obey God? But then you've got the Torah movement that say it's vain to serve Jehovah because they turn from the holy commandment to love your neighbour as yourself. They won't teach the covenant. That's why they stumble over the law and they go to the letter of the law. And they stumble over the feasts. And I've just looked in Malachi 2. It says, thus saith Jehovah, this is a commandment unto the priests. Who are called to be the priests? That's the many called. They're called to be kings, queens, and priests. Lamentations 2:6. First of all, Deuteronomy 12 and 16. I'm all over the place. Deuteronomy 12 and 16. You cannot do the feasts outside of where Jehovah puts his name, outside of your inheritance. The inheritance is Jerusalem. That's what it was given in Deuteronomy 12 and 16. And the inheritance of the northern kingdom, because we're scattered within the Gentiles, will be New Jerusalem. So Jehovah hasn't restored... Jehovah hasn't restored the feast yet. Sorry, this is all over the place. I'm just really excited. I'm surrounded by my babies and we're doing bedtime, but I'm just going to quickly try and do this. And it says... Here you go. And it says... This is a commandment to the priests. Lamentations 2:6, remember? It says that Jehovah has violently taken away the feasts, the solemn assemblies, from the northern kingdom of Israel. And because they are doing the feast, like Hosea 8 says, Ephraim has made many altars to sin, Christmas and Easter. So they continue when they repent from Christmas and Easter, because they won't get rid of covetousness and they won't fulfill the royal law. Isaiah 1 says, because their hands are full of blood, they're going to do these God's feasts, and it is iniquity in God's eyes, because he removed the feast from them. But because they wouldn't fulfill the royal law and go back to the church and tell them to keep the simple commandments, he has blinded them. And this is the thing. When you read the book of... Tobit, he does the Passover and a bird shits in his face and makes him blind. Listen, Malachi 2, it says, come on. Malachi 2, it says, how is it worded? To the priests that he's rejected from Lamentations 2:6. Note that he's rejected these priests from being priests because they do the feasts. It says in Malachi 2, to the priests, I'm going to destroy your seed and spread dung upon your faces, spread shit upon your face, that is, in English, modern English. I'm going to spread shit upon your faces, even the dung of your solemn assemblies. Torah Movement, get out of here. Stop doing the feasts. It's making you blind. You repent of your idols and take the log out of your eye. Then because you won't tell the church how to take the log out of their eye because you're scared of being not liked and you get cliquey in your Torah movement, you think, oh, we don't want to judge people. You can't let go of like part of the church doctrine. And it's the doctrine of the preeminence of men, that covetousness. And that's why you covet the feasts. So because your hands are full of blood, like Isaiah 1 says, you stumble over the feasts and it is shit on your face, literally. Malachi 1-3 is a rebuke to the left and to the right. The left says it's vain to serve God because they say it's vain to even keep the commandments. It's what profited to keep the 10 commandments. Jesus came and died so that we didn't have to. And then the right says... it's vain to do the royal law, which is why the dung upon their faces is them doing the feasts. Like Tobit. It was dung in his eyes. There was another thing I wanted to say, and I can't remember. It was something about tempting. Why tempt ye the Lord? It links to Acts 15. Malachi 3. Something in Malachi 3. It says, why... Oh, it says in Malachi 3 that they say it's vain to serve God. And they say... oh my goodness, come on. It says that they say it's vain to walk mournfully before Jehovah of hosts. And it says that they tempt God in doing this. And when you go to Acts 15, which we've been in recently too about the name thing, to keep the covenants of promise, that's what Acts 15 is saying. It's saying to keep the covenants of promise, to receive the Spirit of truth, and then you can proclaim his name. Acts 15 is a rebuke to the Pharisees, to the Torah movement, to the Jews, those of the circumcision, and attach themselves to the circumcision and even go to the letter and get their dicks cut off, like the Jews, because that's what they think it's saying. It's because they stumble over the law, because they're partial in the law, because they won't rebuke sin, because they're cowards. That is literally why. And it says, he rebukes the Pharisees. I think it's Peter. I think it might be Peter. He says, why tempt ye God in putting a yoke on the Gentiles that not even us or our fathers could bear? That yoke is the sacrificial law. So it says in Malachi 3, you're saying it, the Torah movement is saying it's vain to walk mournfully. What's mourning? Lamentation, mourning, and woe is being a watchman. It's those who love their neighbour. The watchmen are those who love their neighbour. They rebuke sin. The Torah movement were called to be a watchman. That's the calling. The Messiah called us all to be watchmen. But many are called and few choose to take the calling because it's hard. Because it means that everyone hates you. All the church hates you. They become your enemies because you tell them the truth. And they don't want to do that. So then they end up stumbling over the law. They won't teach the basic holy covenant, the covenants of promise, like they say in Acts 15, keep the rainbow covenant and the 10 commandments. But so he says, why tempt ye God in putting the sacrificial law on them, the circumcision? Why are you putting the circumcision on the uncircumcision, the Gentiles, when they get grafted into Israel by keeping the covenants? The law was added, the Messiah has came and been. The law was elevated, it's the royal law now, you just rebuke. You don't go to the letter of the law. They're grafted into Israel by keeping the 10 commandments. They're like, don't you know your book? And it's the same thing with the Torah movement. Oh, there's just a bit on Malachi, it was a mess, but it's mostly for the brothers and sisters.